So hello friends, today we are going to discuss about what does it take for any business to become successful. Okay, any business you start, you will go through a phase where you will be rejected, you will face, you feel like these are failures, because the statistics, any country you go, the statistics shows that 90% of the businesses fail during the first 10 years in their businesses. So that means if you start a business tomorrow, there is a good chance that you will fail. So why do they fail? Okay, what does that definition of failure is? And should you just give up your entrepreneurship journey, looking at the statistics, okay, I may fail. Okay, so what does that mean to you? Let me just share my screen so that we understand that what happens, what is a failure. Okay, now if you see what people or companies or entrepreneurs they lack is a persistency and consistency. Okay, so that means quitting. Okay, instead of continuing, if you quit, so that is where you can call yourself a failure. Okay, so that means until you are in the game, okay, and you are learning from your failures and you are improving on your learnings, based on your learnings you are improving your product or services. Okay, you can never ever fail. So that means, what is failure? Failure is when you stop what you started, that you can call yourself a failure. Okay, but as long as you are in the learning curve, you are learning from your mistakes. Okay, this learning is the biggest lessons. Okay, a lot of people are not willing, okay, to take. Okay, because growing up you will always see your parents, our parents have taught what? Okay, failure is bad. Okay, exam, if you fail in the exam is bad. Okay, so failure in our mind is bad, and that is the reason why when we go out and start a business which is based on the principles of failure. Okay, and then we feel like, okay, I'm a failure. Okay, so what is what exactly means failure is that you keep on keeping on until you succeed, then you cannot fail. Now now when you say keep on keeping on until you succeed, what does that mean? So that means, if you see, this is an example of a rock. There are holes in the rock, if you see. So how does the holes, such big holes in a so hard rock, gets formed? With water. Well, how is that possible? Well, drops of water, okay, dropping on that surface for over years together, okay, or decades or centuries together, that make a hole in the rock. Okay, so if you read a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, you will understand, you learn about the consistency, how the good things and the bad things, or whatever you do. So if you want to cut down weight, or you are overweight, okay, or if you want to be successful in your business or anything you do, it is always, it's compounded. It doesn't matter what you do in one day, it always matters what you do every day. Okay, so that is what, it impacts your future. Okay, so that's a very good book to read. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the entrepreneurs here. Okay, Thomas Alva Edison, because of who we have electricity. We don't have electricity, but we have lights everywhere. Okay, he is the man who invented light bulb. Okay, now so he has, one interviewer asked him, Mr. Edison, you have been through how many experiments? He said, 10,000 experiments I have done. Okay, and what is that you are after? He says that, I am after this bulb. I know that, illuminate, so I can pass electricity through a wire, and this wire is inside certain gas. It can emit light. Okay, now the journalist, the reporter asked, 10,000 experiments, Mr. Edison, and don't you think that 10,000 failures, after 10,000 failures, you think that you'll be able to invent this thing called, you call it light? He said, no, it's not 10,000 failures. It is 10,000 learnings I went through. I learned 10,000 different ways, different materials I used, different gases I used, different temperature I used in my experiments to find out where it will not work. 10,000 different ways it did not work. But eventually I will find the way in which it will work because I will be exhausted. I would be always, would have already been exhausted with all other these 10,000 different options. I will have finally that options which will work. So guys, just imagine he could have been a failure, or we could call himself a failure after 10 experiments. After 1,000 experiments, probably he would have said, well, I am a failure. This thing doesn't work. So what he did, he went through those 10,000 experiments and you learned. As long as you are learning and you are in the game, you haven't failed. Okay, so that is extremely important. What is the definition of failure? Because for a lot of people, what is a failure for people who are successful? That is the learning. Failure versus learning. Okay, whatever you learn. Okay, so Soichiro Honda, okay, he is the founder of Honda Motor, okay, and I think during the Second World War time when the world was, going through so much of disaster, that is the time when he started Honda Motor Company. Okay, now if you haven't read his story, it's an amazing story of how he started, his company, and he burned down, so some of his, when his experiments, so there was a big disaster as well. His sort of experiment room, it's got all burned down as well. But what a hero. Okay, so Suichiro Honda, he says that success is 99% failure. Okay, so that means a lot of time if we are not willing to fail, then we can never be successful, because the success in any entrepreneurship journey starts with failure. Failures are the foundation from which you learn, you improvise. But if you do not learn, then there is no point of failure. But as long as you are learning from every mistakes and you're improving, you are bound to be successful. There is no question about it, because you are in the game. All right, with that I am done. Hopefully it made some sense to you, and let me know what is your thought on the failure, and what has been your experiences. Okay, do you are you afraid of failing, or you welcome failures? Okay, so with that I am done, and until next one, over and out.